I have done my first qualitative data collection, transcription, and coding in the last year and a half. And I just wanted to show briefly the program called Descript that I use for transcription. I've described this to a few different people, and it's a lot easier to just show you. There are a lot of programs like Descript. I'm not claiming that it's the best. It's just the one that worked best for me, and so I'm going to stick with it. But feel free to shop around. I just went to the Descript website and checked out their pricing to decide what I wanted to invest in for auto transcription. You can do your own transcription without any assistive technology, and it's going to take you forever. More power to you if you want to do that. You can also pay someone to transcribe entirely themselves and hand you the finished transcription, which is wonderful, but I did not have the money for that, and I'm sure lots of other grad students are in a similar boat. So I went with these plans here where Descript provides auto transcription, which is basically a computer taking a stab at transcription, and then you will need to follow up and kind of correct the places where the computer doesn't quite get it right. I used this free version because I only needed a few hours of transcription at first. The next time around, next spring, when I'll be doing more transcription again, I'm going to go ahead and just get this $10 a month subscription. That'll give me all the computer-generated auto transcription that I would like, and then I'll build from there to correct the transcriptions and later go code them in Deduce, which is a different software. There's a website for Descript where you can upload your audio files, but I use the app because that's what you need to have open anyway to do editing. So if I come over here to the app, you can see all my different audio files from the last year or so. If I wanted to create a new one, I would just click New Project, open my account, and then choose the audio file that I saved on my computer. So here's a little sample file that I did chatting with my office mate a few minutes ago. You'll just click here to detect multiple speakers, which is a really exciting feature they didn't have last year that makes a pretty good job of deciding who's speaking when, although it's still not perfect. Then I'll just hit transcribe, and it will create the transcription for me. It takes a few minutes. I've already done this, so we don't have to wait. I'm going to come back over to sample 2. So here's the transcription that's done by the computer. That's definitely not perfect. This is the cool new feature I was telling you about. I can click identify speakers, and it's going to tell me to identify the people whose voice clips that it plays. Now, you're plugged into my computer audio, and it might be significantly louder than my voice, so you may want to tone it down at first. Let's see how this goes. It tells me there are 2 speakers in the file. I'm going to click Get Started.
What I noticed is people with really strong accents
or that's
spoke really fast or really slowly made it way harder to code. And I'm from the
Yeah. We talk pretty fast in California.
This is my
I have
participant.
to make sure I slow down, and because that's why I usually stumble over.
Okay, so it kind of takes a pretty good stab at identifying who's speaking when, which is probably going to save a lot of time over what I was doing last year, having to do that manually. Okay, so this is just the audio file itself. If I were to delete a word here, it would actually delete it from the audio file. So you want to be careful there. This is editing media. I spend most of my time right here in the correcting text area. Kind of turns everything green. That's how you know you're in that part of Descript. You can also come over here to the Help Center, and it tells you all these wonderful keyboard shortcuts that I have forgotten in the last few months, but it's definitely worth relearning because it'll save you a lot of time as you're editing your media. The main one I used is Tab to play and pause, and then Option Tab, where is it, to play from cursor. So wherever I click, it will then start playing the audio from there. But you can see, you can do things like highlight, italicize, comment, kind of like a pre-coding, which is really helpful. I'm going to X this out. Okay, if you come up here, you can change the speed of playback. I'm a fast talker, so that's something I just kind of always do is change it to about 75%. You can make it faster if someone's a slow talker. You can also click this button called Patient Playback, and that will pause the playback of the audio whenever you are making edits. I did that sometimes depending on how much someone is speaking. So now I'm going to come here, and when I hit play, it's going to start playing the audio, so make sure your volume doesn't hurt your ears.
It's October 28th, and this is practice interview 1. Hi, participant.
Hello.
Let's talk about Deduce.
So
Have you ever
used
used Deduce?
A comment that we both
Deduce
took a break
before?
to
I
laugh.
haven't.
I'm going
I
to
used it
type
for
that
the
in.
first time last year, and it was extremely
The
difficult
audio
and confusing.
pauses as I'm speaking. It's not perfect though, that's that patient playback feature. But it allows me a little bit of a gap in time if I'm going to edit the media. I'm going to come back up here and turn that off now. I generally find it more helpful to listen slowly and not turn patient playback on because it's not constantly stopping and starting, but that's your choice. So I also see here where I've missed, where it doesn't know what deduce is, it spelled it differently. So I'm just going to go ahead and play.
Let's talk about deduce. Have you ever used deduce before?
I'm basically editing while I'm also kind of listening for errors, and I can hit tab quickly when it gets a little bit too far ahead of me. So for instance, I see here, doesn't know what deduce is. I'm going to change that. Deduce is the coding software that I use after the transcription software, Descript. So I was talking to my office mate about whether she'd used it before. So now I'm just going to hit tab again. Option tab to start right here.
I have it.
I used it for the first time last year, and it was
okay. And what I notice here is my office mate is the person who said I haven't, and the computer didn't catch up on that. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to right click participant, and then I'm going to hit enter again and right click interviewer. And now I'm going to hit option tab again to start back where my cursor
I used it for the first time last year, and it was extremely difficult and confusing at first, but I caught a rhythm eventually. What kind of research is your dissertation on? Would you ever need something like deduce, or do you use other types of data?
Okay, I'm going to pause again. So you see how it kind of spaced out this language. So I'm going to come up here, something like deduce, or do you? And then here again, it didn't quite identify my participant, etc. So you can tell this is not perfect at all, but I've definitely crunched the numbers, and it's way quicker to use this software than to try to physically type, unless you're way faster at typing than I am, to physically type everything from audio, just to have that kind of framework that's mostly correct. Another thing that helps me is just to go as slow as I can and not interrupt my participant. That also helps with the audio files. So once I'm done here, I can just export this in whatever format I would like. I export it as text or as text with subtitles, depending on how many other comments and highlights and things like that I've used. And I've already got the original audio file. You can see from my app that all my older audio files are saved here anyway. Then I'll just hurry over to deduce, I still get them confused, and input that file, and it will show who spoke when, and it will show any comments or highlights or other edits that I've made, and I will code from there. I hope this was helpful, and you guys have a great time with any transcription that you're doing.